When a troubled young artist online posted violent clay animations to YouTube, people didn't really think too much of it. However, as his art got more and more out of hand and he started to express his fantasies online, people began to fear that he would come to bring his violent fantasies to life. And, well, they were right. Giving you guys a bit of a warning on this episode, it's pretty disturbing in ways that are fairly different from my usual sort of videos. This guy is a deviant, just throwing that out there beforehand. This is a story of a man who went by the name Dolly Fresh online, a man who has come to be seen as one of the most disgusting, depraved, and maladjusted artists on the entire internet. Once you come to see his art and what he eventually came to do, I think you'll understand why. But for now, let's start back at the beginning. Leighton Allen LeBoot was a Canadian man born back in 1999. Leighton had pretty severe autism as well as a very low IQ, both things that would lead to him being bullied fairly badly in school. Because of these conditions, he was never really in a great place, and it was believed that he most likely wouldn't be able to function independently as an adult in the future. While having a hard time in school, Leighton did come to take a fascination with animation when he was about 14 years old, specifically claymation, stop-frame animation using clay. When he first started making his animations, they were very crude, something definitely akin to what a kid his age would probably have made. The first characters he made were only vaguely human-shaped blobs who took out weapons and fought each other on screen, usually resulting in some very crudely crafted gore appearing on the video. Leighton's fascination with gore would never come to an end. Over time, his animations got less cartoonish and more realistic, usually retaining cartoonish-looking faces while gradually adapting more realistic-looking bodies. He also came to strive to one-up himself with the amount of violence in his animations time and time again, leading to things getting very out of hand over time. Leighton decided to take his work public in May of 2016 when he turned 17 years old, going under the username Misery Magic, where he would most often come to post on DeviantArt and Instagram. Later on in that same year, he made a YouTube channel under the same name, posting the same sort of violent claymation content that he had come to enjoy, starting by posting his original animations from back in 2013. After a while, Leighton began to go by the online moniker that he would come to be known by the most, Dolly Flesh. On his channel, he would usually post animations, but every once in a while he would do some skits that incorporate live action or even simply talk into the camera about his goals for the channel. Leighton was all set to graduate from the Kelowna Secondary School in 2017, but he wouldn't go on to make it that far. Instead, he was expelled after making some pretty severe threats. He threatened to produce some mustard gas that he would then put through the school air vents and into the water fountains. He added to his threats, saying he wanted to, quote, kill all the pregnant bitches to multiply the kill count. Now free from school, Leighton didn't really have anything to do beyond mess around on YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. From that point onward, he would start to post quite a bit more. Once he started his account on Twitter, for quite a while it was nothing but a bunch of still images of his gory claymation. He would also post very pornographic clay models as well, ones that definitely couldn't have been shown on YouTube. Many of them also depicted very direct, very non-subtle depictions of sexual assault, bondage, and violence taking place during the two. Leighton took a big fascination with sexual assault, even posting a video of himself mimicking performing the actions on a doll. While initially some other artists online were impressed by his dark animations, seeing it as a bit of a performance, they were very quickly put off once they actually talked to him. They were taken aback by his bleak and depressing outlook on life, not to mention his abysmal social skills. Leighton went on to start a gaming channel as well, saying that he would be posting Let's Plays and other game footage. However, to those watching the channel, it became immediately clear that he wasn't actually really playing the games, but was instead using them to mimic mass shootings in any way that he could and play out his power fantasies. It wasn't too long before he took to Twitter to start ranting about these fantasies as well, going from posting pictures of his gory art to rambling over text. He confessed to all that would listen that he grew up having some pretty depraved sexual fantasies, mainly consisting of older women forcing themselves upon him. He specifically said that he was much more comfortable with what he called forward slutty girls, adding that awkward girls would just make the situation that much more awkward for him. Most of his art, by this point, centered around women in one way or another. When men were involved, they were usually only there to kill the women. For a majority of the time, he used his own self-insert character to carry out the violence himself, again delving into that power fantasy territory. He even invented a clown-type character very reminiscent of Jigsaw that he would come to name Itchy. He called Itchy a tribute to Pogo the Clown, John Wayne Gacy's own clown persona. However, he specifically mentioned that Itchy only killed women. On Twitter, he would come to write statements such as, "Innocence doesn't exist," "I want to touch girls in maybe a bit of a rude way," and "One of my favorite cam girls to watch, her name was Molly. When I get a sex doll, I'm also naming her Molly." This was when he became very vocal about his new goal in life, to acquire a sex doll. He seemed to dwell on this thought for quite some time, even asking his mother to buy one for him, which she unsurprisingly shot down. He then decided to make a video complaining about it, writing, "I think I'll soon make an announcement video in some dirty underwear explaining why my mom may not allow me to buy a quality sex doll." Soon after, he elaborated, writing, "One of my life goals is to cream pie a sex doll, and I might fail at that too. And I'm the type of guy that never wants kids, but if you have babies with a sex doll, you don't have to worry about it starving or being killed." He tried to make his own sex doll out of clay, discussing getting the correct skin tone to do the job. He even posted a video eating spaghetti out of what was to become his doll. He posted other videos in which he played with a water balloon-style toy, implying that this would be used as the opening to his custom doll. Eventually, he wanted to make a full video discussing his views on the subject, writing, "The sex doll tweets I'm putting on here are also going to be said for my sex doll video." As you might assume, he did end up making the video, mainly repeating his old tweets about the matter while also going into uncomfortable detail about what he wanted to do with the doll.
How often will you find a girlfriend that's custom designed and perfect the way you look, or even one without arms and legs? Maybe you'll get tired of screwing her in her plastic bum and want to move to her ear canals, which are stretchier than real human ear.
Layton also came to try posting more and more live-action videos for shock value, including the previously mentioned spaghetti video with the doll. In another, he made some fairly large breasts for himself out of clay before squeezing liquid out of them on camera.
Pretty much, I'm going to be having a lot of crazy videos coming up. One of them isn't really as crazy, but one of them is pretty much going to be like, I'm going to have clay tits and a bra, and it's going to lactate milk out. I'll probably like dance to some music.
Whether it was due to something like this or something else entirely, one of his YouTube channels was eventually terminated. He spoke about this a bit on Twitter, saying that it was because of some comments he made about fat people and animals, writing, "Other discussion videos I had on the other terminated channel was about why you should be proud being fat. I was 16. I only talked about this because I didn't like seeing veins on your arms, but now you don't mind it as you get older." And others were legalizing bestiality. While the banning was very likely due to that last little bit, many of his other viewers had raised concerns about the disturbing content on his main channel by this point, mainly his gory animations and his long-winded rants about his fantasies. On both Instagram and YouTube, he started getting into trouble more and more as his content came to be reported. Getting frustrated, he decided that he would go ahead and try to get himself banned off of everything altogether, writing, "I was thinking soon I can try to get my Reddit account banned. I personally hate Reddit. And the funny thing about Reddit, it forces people to watch the things you do and ruins their day." Layton had actually managed to make a few close friends online, although it seems they weren't quite as close as he might have liked. One of these friends was a girl named Allie, who had a similar interest in horror and a home life not too different from his own. Allie came to find that Layton really idolized killers, specifically mass murderers such as Tsutomu Miyazaki, which I've covered before on this channel. He also spoke of his desires to get revenge on both his school for bullying him and on women for rejecting him. Layton asked Allie multiple times to be his girlfriend, which she denied each and every time. He sent her unsolicited naked pictures of himself as well. Allie one day bought some gerbils, which gave Layton the idea to mimic her and do the same. Allie felt that he was obsessed with her and wanted to copy her. Not only that, he wanted to hurt her. It was on May 6, 2019 that Layton made a post on Twitter expressing his interest in buying some hamsters. This was concerning to many as he had previously mentioned stepping on a baby duck. While it isn't known if he was telling the truth or making it up, it was enough for people not to be keen on the idea of him owning a pet. Even so, he soon went out to PetSmart and picked up 3 hamsters, posting a video of himself on his bed playing with 3 of them. By this time, the story of Luca Magnotta had become very famous. Luca was the Canadian man who posted pictures of himself killing cats on the internet, leading to the internet tracking him down. As with a lot of killers, Luca didn't stop at killing animals and eventually went on to full-blown murder, the video of which he also uploaded online. This case got so big that a very famous Netflix documentary was even made about it. Layton likely wanted a cut of that infamy. The next day, on May 15th, Layton hopped onto Reddit where he had multiple accounts, all variations of the name Dolly Fresh. He then filmed a video of himself eliminating each one of the hamsters one by one in different manners. While I won't go into deep detail about what he did, I'll just say that they involve these 3 words: dissection, crushing, microwave. He split the video up into 3 parts and uploaded each part to different subreddits. He posted them on everything from horror groups to even very innocent groups, such as one group for very young YouTubers. People were, unsurprisingly, horrified by what they saw and reached out to both moderators and the police. The videos were taken down almost immediately, and the Kelowna RCMP were notified about the incident shortly after. It wasn't very long before all of the accounts were linked to Layton. Then, on May 20th, he was arrested on 3 counts of killing or injuring an animal and 3 counts of causing unnecessary pain or suffering to an animal. This was along with 1 more charge of publishing obscene material. When asked by the police as to why he did what he did, Layton simply responded that he was bored and entertained by it. The police noted that he showed no remorse while talking about what he had done. He was released shortly after upon paying his $1,000 bail. Many people who cared about animals came out to protest his quick and easy release from prison, saying that the release was indicative of how little the police cared about mistreatment of animals. They also pointed out that Layton was showing all the signs of an up-and-coming serial killer. The court, understandably concerned with Layton's mental state, ordered him to undergo a psychiatric evaluation. This evaluation outlined his background and family history heavily. The judge said, "Without getting into too many details, there were some videos posted online that the Crown has some concerns about, and we were hoping to have an assessment done." Layton's next court date was set for late August. For the time being, he actually went right back to posting on social media. He continued to lament about wanting a sex doll and played around with the mask that he had made, but eventually his social media profiles went dead. Layton was all set to go through a 3-day trial, but it wasn't going to be that long. He actually pleaded guilty, although it was only to one of his charges, that of animal abuse. This was actually a decision by his defense, who felt that he would be much better off taking a plea deal than he would have been going to trial. During the trial, Layton mostly remained silent, only speaking up to say that he would comply with whatever needed to be done. He was put under an 18-month conditional sentence and about 5 years of supervision. A few of the conditions of his supervised release were that he was now to stay off social media entirely, he was to be given a curfew, and he was banned from entering pet shops. He was also forbidden from owning weapons, tweezers, scissors, or drugs of any kind. As it turns out, there were people in Layton's area who had had their pets turning up dead just recently before his arrest. In fact, Layton even posted a clay picture of himself holding a knife to a cat, saying, "I like cats better." None of this was ever proven to have been him, however. Believe it or not, Layton's main YouTube channel, Dolly Flesh, wasn't actually banned until 2 years after his arrest in January of 2022. By that time, he had 2,460 subscribers and over 400,000 views, likely coming from morbidly curious onlookers after hearing about what he had done. Leighton Allen LeBoot has not been active online ever since. It's unknown how long exactly he is forbidden to access social media, but it will presumably be for the 5 years of his supervision, meaning he could be back online by 2025. However, it's possible that he just doesn't want an online presence at all at this point. Time will only tell whether or not we'll see good old Dolly Flesh on this channel for something even worse in the future. Once again, thank you for watching my video. If you found it interesting, please give it a like as it really helps me out in the algorithm, and feel free to subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Just recently, I've started up a podcast with 4 of my friends called the NBR Podcast. If you like this channel, I think you might find that one interesting as well. I have also started up a merch store where you can buy a few Dire Trip t-shirts, and I plan to be adding more in the future. If you want, go ahead and follow me on social media, and I also really appreciate when people follow me on Patreon as well. There you can get videos early, ad-free, and uncensored. Channel memberships are back up too, and you can get the same benefits there as well. Once again, this has been your host Kyle. Thank you, and good night.